A very good morning. Welcome back. It's 7:22 on Sunday, February the 5th. Lots and lots of messages coming in. Good morning, David, says Ricky the Bricky from Devices, saying, can I be one of the first to say, wow, that is an absolutely fabulous shirt. So thank you very much indeed. However, not everyone is so enamoured. Let me just find the one that I saw earlier. Well, this is very nice, Renee, from Joe Public saying, good morning, doctors. I love you guys. You help make my weekend. I'm still listening to you as I go about my chores. Another one saying, I've never met a doctor with a sense of humour like Dr. Renee. She's not a doctor. That's nice, though, isn't it?
It's lovely, thank you.
Very nice. This is the one I was looking for. Matthew Lewis Doran says, you two go from vibrant psychedelic Indian couple yesterday to where's my Zimmer frame in a day.
I think if they knew how I was feeling when I got up at 5 o'clock, they might understand the jumper.
Seen how you looked as well. And interesting, so many messages coming in on this and about Liz Truss. Keep those coming in, please. I'll go through them in just a minute. Keep those coming in. Who do you think should have been Prime Minister? Did the Tories get this terribly wrong? What are your thoughts? 0344 499 1000. Text the word talk in your message to 87222. Tweet us at TalkTV. You can tweet me at Dr. David Bull, and you can see that poll that I put on there as well. Keep those votes coming in. But first of all, I'm delighted to say we're joined this morning by Emma Wolfe, a writer, broadcaster and journalist, to go through the papers. Good morning.
Good morning. Lovely to be back.
Well, it's lovely to see you. I did wonder where you'd gone.
No, I've been here. You've been away.
I was ill.
And away.
I was away and then ill. But I'm allowed to be ill occasionally.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I hope you're better.
No, I'm much better.
Looking better.
But it's fine. I gave it to Renee.
Oh, yeah. And as for you
now
saying...
I'm going to give it to you today.
Well, don't worry. As for you saying you can just stay away from young children, have you ever tried being around a 2-year-old? There's no option of staying away from the bodily, the snot, basically.
I know.
You are drenched in it.
And they love to run their hands over you.
I know they do.
Part of their soggy biscuit.
Everything.
Lovely.
They're little incubators, and it is just vile.
I know.
They get over it, and then they come back with the next one. You think, here we go again.
I know.
It's quite funny, actually, because I've had comments that, if I have a cold, I should not work, I should be responsible. If that was the case, I would not go to work between October and April. Be as simple as that.
It's so true. It's so true. You literally go from one illness to the next and you think, what joy are they going to bring today? I know. That's why we love them.
Yeah, and a doctor friend of mine said, no, little kids shouldn't be getting flu vaccines or anything like that. They should be getting these illnesses, builds up their immunity, especially lockdown babies, builds up their immunity. They go with it. They're not suffering. No. They're just very snotty.
We speak about this a great deal, hygiene hypothesis. It's really important that children get dirty and put their fingers in things, and that's how they build natural immunity. I mean, we used to do that. I used to go around licking things in the garden all the time, like carrots and potatoes, and eating them, and, that's what you do as a child.
Well, that's what you should be allowed to do.
Yeah.
And, people are too paranoid now.
Well, I have a friend in her 70s who said that she had her children basically in a pram outside the door for most of their childhood.
That's what they used to do,
They
Mum.
just put them outside the door in a pram. What a brilliant idea. Winter, summer, spring, whatever.
With a cat net on, because the cats would get it. And actually, apparently, this is a great story. My mum will kill me, but apparently, my brother, who was 2 years younger than me, I think, and apparently she came back and I'd upended the pram, and my brother was swinging in the cat net at the bottom of the pram. Yeah, I was determined to kill him.
Failed.
Failed, yeah. Anyway, should we talk about politics?
Yeah.
We've been talking about this big story on the front page of the Telegraph. Truss, I was brought down by the left-wing economic establishment. Your thoughts?
Well, you were saying, did the Conservatives get this wrong? I think they've got an awful lot wrong recently, starting with probably getting rid of Boris, then getting rid of Liz Truss so quick. I mean, the whole thing, they are, as Renee said, they're very, very divided, the Conservative Party at the moment. They're in an absolute mess. And the excitement last night, I was going through the papers, I was thinking, there's not much, not the most exciting headlines. Then the Telegraph dropped, and I was like, come on, bring it on.
I know.
Suddenly, politics is getting fun again. And honestly, I think Boris is on manoeuvres. We've seen him on Nadine's show on this very lovely channel. And I think Liz is on manoeuvres. And I think things are going to get exciting. I think things are hotting up before the budget next month.
So I saw this at 3 o'clock this morning and I was like, wow, that is a bombshell.
Absolutely. I mean, people are saying on Twitter, this is her 4,000-word breakdown, in public, having her back. I don't think so. I agree with Renee. I think there's a lot in this, a lot of truth in it, but also a lot about the establishment and about Whitehall and about the kind of economic orthodoxy, what you're not allowed to do, and also their control, their power. She decided to do her own thing, didn't she? Admits, it's interesting, she admits that she got communication wrong and things like that. A little bit. She admits a little bit of blame. But mostly it's other people's fault. It's the Conservative Party's fault. It's Whitehall's fault. It's Joe Biden's fault. It's the IMF's fault. It's everybody's fault but her own.
Well, you say this, and you know what? I think, from a degree, she's right. I think I've said from the start, haven't I, that what she should have done is, she's right, she shouldn't have gone over to the convention. She should have done what Boris did in COVID, and she should have put a lectern in number 10, and she should have gone there every single day and spoken to the public about what she was doing, why she was doing, you know, getting over any blips, any bumps, talking about the markets. It should have been a daily, look, this is big, this is different, but let me talk you through it.
Let's go through it together. I think there's one other thing, which is the naivety that she had as she went in. She goes on to say, I believe that being Prime Minister, everyone would follow what I wanted because I have been elected. And that is terrible naivety, but it's also how it should run. But obviously the establishment, the civil service, don't work like that. And so she admits that. Now, I see here someone who the public still likes, who still voted for. I think she's going to come back.
I think she's going to come back. I'm not sure the public liked her. I didn't like her. I thought she was a disaster. But now, I think in contrast, what we've had in the intervening, what is it, 4 months, 5 months?
Well, yeah, he's done
shiny, slick banker.
Yeah, and I think we're all deeply uninspired by Rishi Sunak. I think confidence in his management, in his ability to govern his own party is shaky. And I think, by contrast, people I think this is going to go down well from Liz Truss. Interestingly, she also talks about the personal toll this took on her. Because it's easy to laugh, you know, she was pretty much the shortest ever lived Prime Minister.
46 days?
44 days, something like that, something like that. Anyway, she says, you know, soul-searching has not been easy, and it's been bruising for me personally. And I wonder what that does to a person. She did disappear, didn't she? She went very, very quiet. She had to move out, do all that. I'm just interested in the personal side of it as well, because there was an awful lot of mud flung at her. And, you know, someone like Boris is used to it, but I don't think she was expecting it.
No, but I also think the flip side of all of this, I agree with everything you've said, but the flip side is, we've said about the turmoil within the party, the chaos, the infighting. Does this not now start it all over again?
Yeah.
Is this
but
not...
that's what she's doing on purpose, isn't it?
She's doing it with a bang. I mean,
but you see, do you think there's anything between her and Boris? I mean, it is interesting timing that Boris did the interview with Nadine here on TalkTV. It is interesting. She's popped up the same week.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if she'll be doing an interview on TalkTV.
Well,
I think there is talk of a TV interview. I don't know whether it's on where it's on. There is talk. I don't know whether they're. I never felt they were that. Are they pals?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
Are they allies?
But I mean, clearly there are powers now to try and unseat Rishi. Rishi, I mean, I've said it all along. He's not a leader. He's not charismatic. He's a middle manager. He's an accountant.
But let's say that happens. Then what happens?
I don't know.
Do we get Jeremy Hunt as the Prime Minister?
But also remember, we have a by-election coming up, which is this week coming.
Yeah.
And so that will be another test. It's a Labour seat currently. The question is what happens from here. My prediction would be Labour will hold it with a comfortable majority. But who knows what's going to happen? I think politics is in such a state of flux.
Yeah, and we are leading up, and I know we say this basically from the minute we have a general election, we're leading up to another, but we are now leading up to that 2024 date. And Labour are looking strong, although I still don't think they can do it. But I think
Labour's looking strong because it doesn't have any policies as far as I can see. It's the least worst option currently. Yeah. That's how the public see it, I think. But that may well change, and particularly when you start getting mavericks coming back. That's why I like politics.
Yeah.
You've got mavericks coming back who are actually... And look,
she's got nothing to lose.
She's got nothing to lose, and at least she has conviction.
Yeah. She does, but what the Tories don't have this time round for an election, however bad it's looking for them, they've always had this, they now can't say we managed the economy well. They can't, because it's a mess.
And that's the key. So everyone who then said Rishi Sunak will sort this mess out, he hasn't. So that then gives her added credence, I think. We ought to talk about some other stories.
But isn't it good to have some excitement back in politics? Because it just makes you realise how dull it's been for 4 or 5
really
months.
Dull.
Especially for us junkies that really kind of need it, you know.
There's a really big story. I was talking to Rennie about it earlier in the Sunday Express. The headline here is Lives at Risk After Cancer Plan is ditched. changed.
See that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
You've got it.
And you guys need to tell me more about this, because I don't. This is a 10-year strategy, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And why is it being ditched?
Well, so it seems very odd. Do you not remember that essentially there was going to be a 10-year plan for cancer services? We know that 1 in 3 people, 1 in 2 are going to get cancer. 1 in 2 now, yeah, are going to get cancer. So really, it would be advisable to have some sort of strategy, wouldn't it, to deal with that over a 10-year period. Now, it seems that the government is going to drop this and lump it in with all major diseases. And I was talking to Rennie about it, say, well, in some ways, you ought to have a 10-year plan for all diseases, whether it's cardiovascular disease, whatever, whether it's heart disease. But actually, cancer is such, and I don't like the term cancer. I've never liked it because it covers a myriad of conditions, all of which are terribly different.
Yes.
When you say to people, oh, what's wrong with Mrs. Miggins? They say she's got cancer.
Yeah.
And I always say, what type?
Yeah.
And no one can ever tell me. And so in some ways, the term cancer isn't very
And
helpful.
surely
just a bad
stage
word.
4 pancreatic cancer is a completely different thing to a
thyroid.
30-year-old getting breast
Right, or
cancer
Hodgkin's.
early on. Yeah.
So they're entirely different. But that's my understanding, Rennie.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I think we need the detail here to see exactly what they would do when they blend it into another thing. But, history shows us in medicine, when they start blending targets, things get lost. I think for me, what we need for all major disease is a plan on preventing those diseases, not just curing them. And the NHS is a problem-based service, and it's an outlier because across Europe they have preventative medicine that saves people's lives. We need to be checking people before they've got a problem. We need to be telling people how to live their lives to avoid many problems. 1 in 4 major diseases and deaths now is preventable. That's diet, exercise and lifestyle.
Obesity is at the root of this. I'm sorry, obesity
I
is
know.
just
It's a
the thing
major
that we are
player.
still not able to say to people, you are grossly overweight and you need to start tackling this.
And it's about responsibility, because
it
for
is.
far too long it's not my fault, I can go to a hospital or a doctor and get sorted out, and I'm afraid it is your fault.
We're all grown-ups. It's not about blame. It's about actually,
Working together.
preventing.
But I am going to put a caveat in there, and I am a big believer in self-responsibility. I think we need to look at society and the society that we've created around people
Agreed.
that just make
course.
eating empty calories and yucky food that has no nutrition easy and cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Prices as well need
But
to
you
be
and I
really,
have talked
really
about this in supermarkets. Why are we not discounting healthy foods?
Yes.
Why are we not
consistently.
teaching people?
Fruit and vegetables cost more than junk.
Yeah.
I know.
You can buy calorie for calorie. You can buy more junk, empty food. At my child's nursery, and he's 2, they are serving white rice instead of brown rice. Is there a nutritional reason for that? White rice, as far as I know, is nutritionally empty.
Well, no. So basmati white rice is as nutritionally healthy as brown,
Okay.
but the rest isn't. But basmati rice is expensive.
Yeah, so it's unlikely it would be
So
that.
there's the thing.
But you see,
Why? It shouldn't be expensive.
if you go to deprived parts of East London, particularly, and where it is very multicultural, I watch people what they're putting in their baskets, and it's full of all the stuff you say. It's high calorie, it's all processed, and it's cheap.
And my fellow libertarians say we shouldn't be nudging people to healthy food. They should just do it. But actually, we've nudged people towards unhealthy food, and we know the effect that has had. So why shouldn't we be nudging them to healthy?
Yeah, and of course later on at around 9 o'clock we're going to be talking about this. I'm going to be talking to Dr. Rakib Ali, who is Chief Medical Officer at Our Future Health, and this is really interesting. It's a story you picked up on, isn't it, about the future of healthcare, how we turn healthcare upside down and actually make sure we are proactive and preventative. So we've done that. We've done the Telegraph and the Express. Now moving on to the Independent. How do you fancy that one?
Yeah, so this is about Manston, isn't it? Eyewitnesses say that revealing that violence and self-harm in this chaotic asylum system. It's such a difficult one. I don't even have the paper with me.
Oh, don't you?
Independent here.
I don't think
it
I
is
do,
Manston. I
actually.
don't quite recall that properly. So
I
yeah,
don't
I mean,
either.
the eyewitnesses are saying that within these asylum systems, that migrants are so distressed that they are basically turning to self-harm, to self-violence. Recently, we had stories of children, young people apparently going missing, being, just disappearing out of these centres. And I think, look, migration, illegal immigration, legal or illegal, is such a big issue at the moment.
Well, also it's going to be a massive electoral issue.
It is. It's one of Rishi Sunak's top 5 priorities.
Yeah.
We see on the front of the Sunday Times the possibility that he might withdraw from the ECHR.
He knows this has to happen.
He knows, yeah.
And I think there's been so much pressure from other political parties saying you cannot take control. And if you remember, Brexit was all about taking back control. You can't take control if you're seen to be in underneath a foreign court.
And to me, it's not so much about the ECHR, it's actually about what they're proposing. So they're trying to push through, him and Suella Braverman, his Home Secretary, are trying to push through these possible options about illegal migration. He wants to, he says, stop the boats, which I think for Rishi Sunak is, quite strong. He wants to stop the boats. He doesn't want 65,000 migrants are forecast to be crossing this year.
From 45 this year.
Yeah, so we're talking about 50-60% increases on the last 2 years, and he wants to end the right of migrants to stay in this country to appeal their deportation. So he will send them back, and then they can appeal from there. At the moment, they can stay here. So I think what Sunak is planning...
Right.
But will the blob let him get any, he's having all sorts of roadblocks put in his way.
So apparently the Home Office has drawn up two options for this. The first is they will withdraw the right of illegal arrivals to appeal against their automatic exclusion from the asylum system.
Yeah.
The second under consideration would allow them to lodge an appeal after deportation.
So from Rwanda or wherever they get sent to.
Or Calais.
Yeah.
Or Calais.
Or Calais.
Look, I think this is a tragedy. We don't want anyone to be self-harming or be sitting in circumstances which are hideous. However, I think, again, let's look at home. How many of our own children born here in our schools are self-harming, have eating disorders, are committing suicide? Let us not forget that 2 of our young men a week in this country commit suicide. We have a massive problem here. And once again, our eye is being taken off of the ball of looking after the people that we gave birth to.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so this has to be sorted out, because I know that in terms of the general election, this is high on the list. If you can't see a doctor, if you can't, and we know many people can't see a doctor, if you can't get your kid into a school, if you feel the education system is falling apart, if you can't feel that the whole country is falling apart, that you've got really high taxes and you don't see any benefit from that, and you see everyone being hoteled at a cost of, what, £7 million a day, £2.5 billion a year, it seems very unfair.
It does, and it's still really difficult to say that without being accused of being, absolutely kind of beyond the pale, xenophobic, all of that. And it's not. It's simply what Renee says and what you say, which is that can we care about our own people first? Can we talk about the old people that are struggling right now to stay warm and to stay fed? And young families with lots of children who cannot afford the prices that are skyrocketing still in the supermarkets just to feed their children. I think people are struggling so much, and this country's in a mess.
It really is. Time for one more story, and it has to be this one in the Sun on Sunday. On the boom. That's what Harry did, wasn't it? Boom. And the big headline, I took Harry's virginity.
Oh, I know, this was
tell us who did.
Marmalade dropper last night, although I wasn't eating marmalade, but it's a
story to the Sun.
The thing is, it was
You wish. Come on. Do you fancy Prince Harry?
No.
A little bit.
No, not anymore, because I think as a person he's pathetic. I think he's always been a very handsome guy, but I think now
Renee.
everything about him is pathetic.
All right, okay.
He is pathetic. He's an embarrassment.
So tell us.
Yeah, well, this was an exclusive for The Sun, but then disappointingly, it was also on the front of the Mail on Sunday, which is the photo on the Mail. Because on the front of The Sun, I think she looks like a sort of blue-blooded, royal horsey type.
Yes.
But on the front of the Mail on Sunday, they reveal, and I wish we had it. Oh, yes, we do. They reveal that she is a digger driver, which I could not imagine Meghan Markle's face. She's a digger driver.
Oh.
She's an older woman, but she's only 40, which is actually, 2 years older than Harry? So
well, she was a groom, wasn't she, at Highgrove?
But she's now a digger driver.
Ah.
She gives the Mail on Sunday her extraordinary story, so she's obviously done a double exclusive. Someone's, Anyway, they had a 5-minute romp between friends round in a field. A romp.
It sounds rather more than a romp.
5 minutes.
Friends?
Between friends, that's what she says. Round the back of a busy pub.
Oh, they were friends. Oh, okay.
They were friends. Yeah.
So apparently, yes, it was literally wham bam between two friends. Do two friends have a wham bam? Don't look at me,
Maybe
Renee.
I shall leave you to it.
Yeah, wow, I'm quite lost for words. What do we think?
Well, where does it go from here?
Well, I don't
Will
know.
we be hearing more from Sasha?
Wow.
I don't know. What does
Why
Meghan
would she
think?
do this?
For money.
Okay, I know, but I know.
Won't
but-
she? Won't she come forward from, you know?
I'm frantically
why not?
going to read pages 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Why shouldn't she? I mean, she's been quiet for a week or two since the book. I love the fact that she's holding the memoir on the front of the, you know, she's sort of got her grubby mitts on it. I just think...
I love the way she's holding the prong of her digger.
I think
I mean-
I think Meghan and Harry are not going to be best pleased by this revelation.
They're not. But then if you put it out there, he put
Yeah.
it out there.
He put everything out there.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
this. Digger driving knicker factory worker Sasha.
A knicker factory worker.
Yeah, you see, it's all coming out. Good grief.
But it's fun. You know, this is a real headline, isn't it? I mean, when I saw the Sun, I was like, wow, it's the
I'm
woman. It's
taking
the
that
older
home.
woman.
Okay.
So I'm now reading the
That's grubby, David.
in the text that she had with a friend, she said, I can't believe it. It's been years. To be honest, he has put a lot that he shouldn't have. So, you know, he did this.
He did
has
this.
no one
Yet
to blame but
again.
himself.
Yet again. However.
Friend says he's lost the plot, hasn't he?
He
Yeah,
has.
yeah.
And it only gets more fun from now until the coronation.
Oh, it really does. Well, very sadly, that's it, Emma. Thank you very much indeed. Always a pleasure to see you.
Always a pleasure. Lovely to be
And
here.
very sadly, we have to take a break. Whilst we do that, I'll be reading pages 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. After the break, it's time for your calls, thoughts, and messages. This is Talk TV.